I actually am. So with kinesiology, it's kind of one of those majors that really gets you involved with how the body moves and everything. And I've always been fascinated with it. And since swimming is one of those sports where you use virtually every single muscle in your body and prone to overuse injuries, I actually really want to become someone along the lines of, like, my career goal is to become an athletic trainer. So following the footsteps of my athletic trainer, I want to become her.
Welcome everyone to The Journey, a show that examines and elaborates the hard work those in the swimming community endure in and out of the pool. I'm Molly Harmon, and with me is my co-host, Jeff Commings. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to talking with and meeting our guest today.
Awesome, so am I. So now, let's not waste any more time. Our guest today is Sophia, who just wrapped up her sophomore year at Washington State University. Hi, Sophia. How are you?
Hi, Molly. I'm good.
And how do you pronounce your last name again? I didn't want to.
It's totally okay. It's Balmaceda.
Awesome. That's a really cool last name. I like it. So you just completed, like I said, your sophomore year at Washington State as a member of the swimming and diving team, but you made the decision to not further your swimming career. What prompted that decision that you didn't want to do that?
It was mostly a decision with my coach to kind of go in a different direction, and partly because I just think that doing it for so long and kind of just how rigorous it was, my heart wasn't in it as, let's say, I was in high school. So I think for my own sake and also for the team, not to say that I wouldn't be contributing anything, it would just be good to go in our different directions.
So
when you talk about that different direction your coach wanted to take you, what was that specifically?
So when I was recruited at Washington State, I was recruited by a different coach. And as a result of that, completely different program, completely different mental ideology and stuff. So when I found out a couple months before me going to campus, that coach had left and they were on the search for a new coach. And I think with any of the process of you getting recruited by an old coach, and then getting a new coach, there's kind of like a different kind of thing you sign up for. So just with every other school or every other thing that happens in this case, it's just like what I thought didn't necessarily go along with him, and what he thought didn't necessarily go along with me. It was mostly just figuring out like, oh, okay, I think I'm done, and I think that, like, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So that's kind of like where it went.
Mm-hmm. So you're majoring in kinesiology, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Are you continuing to stay at Washington State, or do you think you're going to transfer to a different school? How is that going to work?
I am still going to stay at Washington State. I absolutely love the campus, and I love all of the girls that I've met and girls and guys that I've met. So I'm still pursuing my degree there, and I'm just not swimming anymore.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to miss most about it? Like, I know there's the camaraderie with the whole team and everything like that, but I didn't know if there was anything specific that you really thought you would really miss about swimming, or just the sport as a whole.
It's not necessarily swimming, but it's kind of the intimacy you get with 20 plus girls, 20 hours a week, mm-hmm. in the weight room and the pool, and then going like pre-practice where you're there like 15 minutes early and everyone's chilling in the locker room and you guys are hanging out and we can just be girls. And some of the things that we would do is we would update each other on the day because everyone's in different majors. So it would be like, guess what happened in class today, or someone did this today, and kind of just catching up like that. Or traveling, we would have these little shenanigans when we go to the airports and stuff. And I remember this one time, the airport that we were leaving from, because we left from Spokane, which was an hour north from us, they had this like guess the song thing, and every single one of the girls beeline for it and was just like, we can do this, we can totally, like, you're going down, you're going like this. And I think it's just kind of like how goofy everyone is and kind of just getting comfortable with everyone on that kind of level. So I think that's what I'll miss the most.
Was there ever a thought in your mind about not ending your career and maybe transferring to another school that had a swimming program?
Very briefly, but ultimately I decided not to, just because I liked where I ended things, and I thought that I was pretty much done.
Yeah. Do you think the relationship you had with those friends and those girls, and the relationship you had even with the sport, do you think you would continue on with that? Like, I'm sure you're still going to be friends with them, but I'm not 100% sure how you feel about the relationship you have with the sport. Are you wanting to continue maybe coaching or doing anything like that?
I actually am. So with kinesiology, it's kind of one of those majors that really gets you involved with how the body moves and everything. And I've always been fascinated with it. And since swimming is one of those sports where you use virtually every single muscle in your body and prone to overuse injuries, I actually really want to become someone along the lines of, like, my career goal is to become an athletic trainer. So following the footsteps of my athletic trainer, I want to become her. But coaching has been something that always has been in the back of my mind. Last summer, I worked with one of my old coaches in his site, and I coached a couple of his kids. I coached at my club team. I gave some lessons, and it's definitely an avenue, but I think right now it's focusing on getting my degree.
For sure. Yeah, that's a lot, probably more important than, continuing the love and the fun that you had with the sport. But ultimately, you're that school to get a degree. So I totally get that. So when did you begin swimming? Like, how did you start swimming? What was your beginning, I guess, to this whole journey you had through swimming?
So at my old house, we had a pool, and I was one of those kids where I would wander around a lot, and my mom thought that I was one day going to just drop in the pool and not know how to swim. So she signed me up for swim lessons, and ever since then, it was kind of like, you can't get me out of the pool. And when my brother was born, I had to take a little break, and I was getting super, super restless. So my mom's like, okay, wait, no, you need to go back swimming. So I joined a summer league team for a year, absolutely loved it, and then joined their club team, and then it's kind of just went off since. So.
Yeah. And you had mentioned some overuse injuries. I personally have, when I was swimming, suffered from overuse injuries as well in my shoulders. But what type of injuries did you occur of?
Shoulders.
Yeah.
I was a butterflyer, so I was a sprint butterflyer, and because of that, you're doing every single motion you can with your shoulders. So I had a lot of shoulder injuries. I had a lot of lower back injuries, just because my family is very prone to just tight muscles. So lower back and shoulders, and then on top of that, I also had bad knees because when I was little, I was doing breaststroke the wrong way. So I think because of that, I've just been doing it, and my body as I grew up was like, this is not right. So that's, yeah, that's my list of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure with all those injuries, it's kind of hard to want to pursue and do more swimming. So how did your coaches kind of play a role, like as you were a little age group swimmer, to pursue you to want to go further to the higher level of swimming? What made you decide to do that? What did your coaches help you do?
So I wasn't on my old club team. I started on a really, really small club team near my house, and the person who founded that club team was an Olympian, and she was an Olympian representing China, I think, at the '08 games, and she was a butterflyer. And I kind of told my mom, I was just like, that's like really, really cool. I want to do that. And so one of her best friends, which was also a Chinese national swimmer, kind of helped that team and encouraged a lot of kids. And pretty much it was just, they encouraged me to just like beat the guys pretty much, because there wasn't really a girl on the team that was in the more like upper division groups, and it was just all guys. So she kind of like saw me and was just like, hey, you can beat them. And so it was kind of just like just nudging me on. And then when that team kind of formed into another team, my family and I were like, okay, let's go to another club that could help us or like get you to the next level. And so I moved to Palo Alto Stanford Aquatics, which is across the bay from where I live. But every single age group swimmer that I've had have encouraged me to do my absolute best and put as much effort as I can give, and hold myself accountable of, am I taking a breath as soon as I leave the flags? Or am I taking a breath inside the wall? How many dolphin kicks am I doing? Like it wasn't, they made you want to do it versus they made you like feel like you had to do it. And then we did this kind of thing in my club team where we had a zone championship meet, which was like for every LSC and stuff. And they paired little kids with the senior group, and you got to know your buddy, is what we called it, and you got to ask them questions. They walked you to your races, they'd watch your races, and you just felt like, oh my gosh, like the senior kids talking to me. But that kind of encouraged me to do that too, because when I first had my senior group buddy, I was just like, I want to be you. And then she ended up going to USC for swimming, and I'm like, that's super cool. And then when I went to the next group up, because they divided it into age groups, my 13-14 coach swam at Purdue, and she was telling us all about her college career and journey and everything that she went through. And I related to her so much because she kind of had the same background as me. And I was just like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. And then the senior coach, he went to USC too, and he swam collegiately. And I've seen all these girls and guys that I've been looking up to since I was little go to college and swim in college, that I was just like, let me do that. And every single one of them were like, okay, here's how you can get there, and we're more than willing to help you get there. So they've always just been super encouraging and tolerant of me with my mistakes and bad habits of breathing in and out of the walls. But I mean, they're some of the most amazing people I've ever met.
Some of the sets I'm sure you had to do as a butterflyer, you probably look back and say, how did I even survive those? Give us an example of one of those that you think maybe not turned a corner for you, but it really stands out if you were ever to go back with your coaches and say, I remember this set so vividly.
So there was a set my club coach in high school would, and it's dubbed Burgess, and it's named after, I think his name's Frank Burgess or some, I can't remember his first name, but the set was an IM hybrid set. It was 4 200s, a 4 a.m. and then a mile, and you did that 4 times. And the 4 200s at the beginning of each round was, and you did this 4 times. So the first round was fly, second round was back, third round was breast, last round was freestyle. But with me being a sprint butterflyer, I have no stamina when it comes to doing more than a 50 of fly. So when I had to do 4 200s fly back to back to back to back, I remember hearing that and literally like, is this real? And then doing a mile and then doing a 4 a.m. And looking back on it now, one of the things that I would tell myself when I go through those sets is, hey, you can look back on it and say that you did it. So that's kind of the mentality I've had through all the fly sets. It's kind of like, I did that.
Yeah, and it builds character.
Oh, for sure. Especially fly sets.
Yeah, and I'm sure now, I think probably one thing you will look back on and say, I'm glad I'm not doing that or all these intense fly sets. Because like you said, it does do a number on the shoulders.
Yeah.
So now that you're done with swimming, and especially now with quarantine, what is taking up that time that you've normally had for dryland training and in the pool swimming?
It's weird. I've never had this much free time, and it's kind of like, and the first couple of weeks I'm like, I can take a little break, I deserve it. But then I got extremely bored. I've been doing like YouTube workouts. I've been running, and I would periodically take my dog out for a walk. He's a little older, so it's mostly just like, okay, I've ran 2 laps, let me go take him for a walk for warm down. But mostly just like HIIT workouts or banded workouts is kind of what I've been doing, because we don't really have a lot of equipment. But yeah, I've kind of been doing that.
So it sounds like you're going to stay very active.
Oh, 100%. I don't see myself not working out.
Yeah. Any other hobbies that you may have picked up, not besides exercising, that you think you found a big interest in and you want to continue?
I actually, since I have so much free time, I've been doing things or like researching things that I've never been able to do just because of not coinciding with my schedule. So I found a local rock climbing wall that I can hopefully go to and learn how to climb. I am very, very interested in CrossFit, but I don't know if I'm ready to tackle that yet. So I'm kind of just looking at it and seeing what I have to do. Then I'll dabble in that. But like the other hobbies that I've been doing, I've become kind of a botanist, and I've collected many plants throughout quarantine. So just that.
It sounds very interesting. I think a lot of people during quarantine have kind of tried to find things that they most probably wouldn't have done if it hasn't been this time. But I think a lot of people can learn things from. I know my brother, he's like now wants to be a chef because all he's done during quarantine is cook. So things like that, I guess, have kind of just brought other things out in people. Mm-hmm. But it was so nice talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
We enjoyed you very much for having you on the show. If you'd like, you can follow our handles. We have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Teamcutx. Okay. If you'd like to go and follow those,
yeah, for sure,
that would be amazing. But yeah, I really appreciate you having on the show, and I'm sure Jeff does too.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so
I've learned a lot, and I can tell that you have had a wonderful swimming career, and I could tell you leave it without any regrets. So congratulations on that. That is not very easy to do, and best of luck with getting the kinesiology degree. And I hope that
best of luck.
We see you on a pool deck as a national team masseuse. I'm sure that will be great.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.